What's up everybody, it's Sean here and I am back today to give you guys a review of the This Is Never That collaboration with New Balance on this 991 V2 in the Rock Ridge colorway. This is the latest collaboration between South Korean streetwear brand This Is Never That with New Balance. Having a history of collaborations already in the past, this is their first time, however, collaborating on the 991 V2 silhouette, which is arguably one of the brand's most popular silhouettes right now. So this pair, to my knowledge, didn't release in Canada, but I managed to grab a pair over from Kith, and they retailed for $270 US, which converts to approximately 375 Canadian dollars. The official colorway for this shoe is Rock Ridge, Moon Mist, and Sedona Sage, and the style code for this shoe is U991TN2. So like any other pair of the 991 V2, this pair is also made in New Balance's factory in England, which explains why it has that higher price point. But my question that I was curious to answer was, is this worth the $270 US, or are there better options out there on the market without having to pay that much money? Before we dive into the details of the shoe though, first off, here's a quick look at the box. So this comes in a natural colored cardboard box, and on the top lid we have This Is Never That branding. However, on the sides of the box, you can see right here, we have New Balance made in UK branding, and the same thing on this back side as well. So jumping into the details of the shoe itself, as we start things off with the toe box, this is covered in a gray colored mesh. Right above this towards the eyelets in the middle, we have this reflective 3M layer in dark gray. And then overlaid on both sides of the toe box, we have this gray colored synthetic nubuck. Surrounding the front toe cap, we have an asymmetrical overlay of genuine pig suede, and this feels really soft and buttery to the touch. This also covers the mid panel of the shoe, where we have this reflective New Balance end logo. Moving downwards, we have more suede, and then the top two eyelets, this is covered in a gray colored TPU or plastic. Moving downwards, we have more suede along with underlays of mesh, just like we saw earlier on the toe box. We have another layer of pig suede covering the bottom of the heel, and then on the lateral side, we have this oval shaped cutout revealing TNT branding, This Is Never That, instead of the typical 991 branding. So this suede wraps around both sides of the heel, and then in the middle we have the synthetic nubuck layer with V2 branding, and then on the very top of the heel we have another reflective panel here as well. On the bottom of the heel we have this semi-translucent heel clip. This has New Balance branding etched across, and this helps to give the heel a little bit more structure and support. And then turning our attention back to the front, in terms of laces, this pair comes with two different lace options. The standard lace that they come with is a flat style gray lace, and I think it looks best because it really leans into the whole tonal look and aspect of this shoe. However, if you want to give the shoe more contrast, they do come with a secondary pair of slightly off-white colored laces, but I think the contrast on these laces is a little bit too much. For me, I much prefer the gray laces. Underneath this, the tongue is crafted out of mesh. However, we have this large synthetic nubuck layer towards the top. Here you'll find V2 branding along with New Balance, Made in England, and 991 embroidered across. The back of the tongue and the interior of the shoe, this is lined in a gray colored liner, and like any other 991 V2, it's pretty thinly padded around the ankle collar area. For the insoles, these come with a pretty well padded foam lined insole. It's lined in this gray finish on top, and we have New Balance and This Is Never That co-branding pressed onto the heel. So the upper of the 991 V2, it sits atop, in my opinion, the star of the show, which is the midsole. So this midsole utilizes fuel cell foam, which is one of New Balance's top cushioning technologies, alongside end cap, which is more of a dual density foam, which gives you softness in the middle surrounded by a stiffer polyurethane rim on the edges. So this gives you a good amount of cushioning and softness while still giving you stability and support. And in addition to these two types of foams, they also have Absorb SBS. This is more of like a gel-like cushioning system visible on the lateral forefoot and heel, and it helps a little bit more with impact protection and shock absorption. And before I forget, I want to mention the color of this midsole. In real life, it actually has a bit more of a greenish tone to it along the heel. This wasn't too obvious in photos, but getting these in hand, depending on the light, sometimes it can look pretty green. Anyways, moving on to the outsole, so the bottom here, this is constructed out of different tones of gray rubber. We have these grooves to give you some added flexibility, and then we have this curved line cutting across the middle. This reveals the exposed fuel cell foam that sits right above the rubber outsole. So that breaks down the look and the construction of this shoe. And for those wondering about how these fit, to me these fit like any other 991 V2. So I personally go true to size. So in my case, I'm a true size 10 in between a D and an E width, which is slightly wide. And getting these in my true size, they fit me nicely in a slightly snug way around the toe box. So to give you guys a point of comparison, I also go true to size or a size 10 in other New Balance silhouettes like the 2002R, 1906R, 860 V2, and the 1500. Whereas I go a half size down to a 9.5 in a lot of New Balances made in USA models like the 992, 993, and most of the 990 series. So long story short, if you have a narrow, normal, or even a slightly wide foot, I feel like you can go true to size in these. However, if you have a really wide foot, I'd recommend maybe trying these on maybe a different colorway if that's possible, because these do run a little bit narrow in the toe box, but a little bit long lengthwise. So I just don't want you to go up half a size and just have too much room at the edge of the toe. So if possible, try them on first to get a sense of the sizing. Next up, in terms of the comfort, so the 991 V2 is probably one of the most comfortable models right now when it comes to New Balance. Like I mentioned earlier, the combination of all the different foam technologies, you can feel a decent amount of plushness straight out of the box. However, it doesn't sacrifice stability whatsoever. You always feel very grounded and almost locked in, but at the same time, the middle of the midsole gives you adequate amount of softness. So the only caveat is make sure you can get the sizing correct, because it can be a little bit narrow around the toe box area, which obviously would cause some discomfort for the wearer. Finally, in terms of the quality and the craftsmanship, so first off, material quality I thought was really solid. This is built like your typical made in England New Balance shoe. So you have a combination of high quality, very soft pig suede, but there are synthetic layers like the synthetic nubucks and the meshes. So nothing about this really surprised me. It still maintains that level of quality you expect from a made in UK shoe. However, I had some issues with the craftsmanship. I don't know if you guys can see this, but on the toe box of my right foot, right here, it's just kind of dented down the center. It's not as obvious when my foot is inside the shoe, but once I remove it, you can really see this clear indentation. I also had issues with the midsole where there were significant glue stains all across it. This wasn't as big of a deal, but it just kind of shows you the lack of quality control. So maybe I just got unlucky with a bad pair. So anyone that has this in hand, let me know, how is the overall build quality on your pair? So with all of that out of the way now, let's toss these on feet, I'll lace them up, and I'll show you guys how these look. All in all, this is a solid collaboration, but it really doesn't reinvent the wheel. If you're in the market for a tonal, gray-based New Balance sneaker that has good quality materials and is very comfortable, this is a very solid option. But at the price point for $270 US, which is almost 500 Canadian dollars once I paid the duties, the taxes, and all that extra, I just don't really feel that it's that amazing of a sneaker. Like I mentioned, it has a time and place. If you're looking for just an understated, wearable gray New Balance sneaker, this is a very solid option. But I feel like you can find similar replacements, maybe some other silhouettes that have a similar gray tonal look without paying that higher retail price. But that's just me. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about this Thisisneverthat collaboration with New Balance? What are your thoughts on this all gray tonal look? Is it kind of boring for you? Are you feeling it? Leave your thoughts down below and let's talk about it. And as usual, if you guys enjoyed this review, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. I'll add my social media links, all of that good stuff down below. So check them out and give me a follow there as well. And as always, thank you for your continued love and support. Thank you for always viewing, commenting, all of that stuff. It really motivates me to keep this channel going. So until next time, thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'll catch you all in my next review.